The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, as always joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and the household firm entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
And this episode, we are lucky enough to have our fourth Beer Buster, Mr.
Christian Mosebach.
Thank you very much for coming out with us today, Christian. You are from Avalanche, correct? Avalanche Brewing Company. Golden Avalanche. I apologize. I've been drinking heavily earlier today. Golden Avalanche. Wow, I've already messed up, and you probably already hate me.
Just a little.
Just a wee bit, right? Well, just so I don't say anything else stupid. All right, so we found a few things today that are worthwhile of sharing. One of which is pretty close to us here at Beer Busters. Homebrewers, which we all know Steph is here. Homebrewers will make up 1% of the beer brewed in the United States overall.
which is awesome.
Yes. So now there's a survey that was conducted for the American Homebrewers Association, the AHA, that there are more than 2 million barrels of beer per year produced by homebrewers. A barrel, of course, being 31 gallons, 31 gallons for those of us who were not familiar with that. So that is going to be 1 full percent of the U.S. beer production. And according to this survey, there's an estimated 1.2 million homebrewers in the U.S., two-thirds of which began brewing in 2005 or later, so the past 8-9 years or so.
Wow, that's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Two-thirds, that's a big number.
The demographics that we have, there's the average homebrewer is about 40 years old, with about 60% of which falling between 30 and 49 years old, the majority of which are married or in a domestic partnership. And about 78%...
Somebody has to clean up the equipment.
Right. Sorry, that was 78% of which are married or in a domestic partnership. There's also roughly 69% of so have a college degree or some form of higher education.
You got to be smart to brew.
Yeah. As we learned last episode, there's a lot of math involved with that. Nearly 60% of the homebrewers have a household income of $75,000 per year,
because they
more.
cost a lot to buy your ingredients.
It's not a cheap hobby.
As I've learned.
Yeah.
For geographic information here, most of the homebrewers, about 31% or so, are going to be in the West, about 26% or so are in the South, about 23% in the Midwest, and about 17% here in the Northeast.
So 17, so we're in like the lowest region of the country.
We are, and yet it seems like it's such a rich area for home.
Well, it is for craft beer, and you would think home brewing kind of, if there's a lot of really good craft breweries in an area, you would think that would inspire a lot of people to homebrew, but
right.
Apparently we're
But
lagging.
it's still pretty equally spread across the country.
Yeah,
About,
more or less, yeah.
Now, in terms of production, 60% of the people who responded to this survey, they only brew beer at home compared to wine. I'm sorry, brew only beer at home compared to wine, mead, or cider. The AHA members and people affiliated with the AHA on average brewed nearly about 10 batches of beer per year, 7 gallons a batch on average, which is 15% more batches and nearly 30% more volume than homebrewers who were not affiliated with the AHA. Now, nearly all of the homebrewers, about 95% or so, will shop in 2 local homebrew stores 8 or 9 times a year, while a majority, about 80% or so, will also shop in 3 online stores about 5 times a year. And on average, each homebrewer will spend about $800 a year, which is about $460 on general supplies and ingredients and about $330 on equipment. Now, Steph, you were obviously a homebrewer. Mm-hmm. Is that accurate?
Sure.
Okay, cool. And Kristen, I know you've been homebrewing for a little bit, right? Is that about accurate as well, roughly?
Seems about right.
Okay,
I usually spend about $50-ish every time I brew a batch. I know I still do 5 to 6 gallon batches, so I usually drop about $50 every time. So if you brew 10 times a year, that would be about $500. So that makes sense.
Okay.
And you always want new equipment.
I was going to say the factor in the
That's
cost
the
of
problem.
equipment. Yeah.
Every time I go to the homebrew store, I come home with ingredients plus something else. There's always something you want.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess that is about average, about accurate compared to where we are with those of us here at the table. The other thing that we saw in the news, there's a prediction that craft beer sales will double by the year 2020. Now, there's a one-day craft beer conference in San Diego, and most of the industry insiders agreed that the good times will continue to roll and that most craft beer will be just on the rise as we go. Now, as far as who is buying craft beer, 71.6% of sales go to men.
This news segment contains a lot of numbers.
It does, and I normally don't like that, but these articles were really good.
I picked the articles. I love math.
You weren't supposed to say that. But
Sorry.
okay, no, it's cool. Let's see here. Now, 58.9% of this people in this statistic have an annual income of about $75,000 or more, which is a very great tie-in back to the last article that we had. That seems to be the median. Yeah.
Wait, you said 70% are men?
71.6% of men of sales are men. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, considering people say it's a men's beverage or a man's world, I mean, that's still 30% women. That's good.
It is. It's a lot of Brewsters and pink boots.
Wow.
Hey, I have 2 pairs of pink boots.
Yes.
And I wear them proudly.
As far as the quote-unquote millennial generation, 35.5% of sales are to people aged 21 to 34. And this source comes...
the what generation?
Millennial. I guess we're millennials.
Are we part of that?
Yeah. I
you?
guess so. You said to 34, right?
Yeah, 21 to 34. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, you are. Yeah.
I am a millennial.
Yes.
Are you a millennial
I am a
also?
millennial.
All
We are
right.
all
Go millennials.
That's right.
We need T-shirts or something.
Yeah, right.
Really.
Now, this source is the Nielsen company, who is in charge of TV ratings and I believe radio ratings. Now
They
as
do
well.
a lot of
I think
media rating in general.
Yeah, I think Nielsen bought Arbitron, or there was a merger of some sort. Anyway, that's my own stuff. Now, as far as who is not buying craft, women account for roughly 28.4%.
Hopefully people under 21.
Right. Women account for 28.4% of sales, which I had to do some quick math, and I believe that totals up to 100 to the men at 71.6, right? You like math, right?
Yep.
28.4 and 71.6?
Thank you.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, as we learned also, most of the people, 58.9%, are $75,000 or more, so that leaves there's 11.7% of people with an annual income of $30,000 to $49,999 are buying the beer. I don't know where the rest of that falls. Now, the greatest generation, there's 8.6% of sales are to people who are 65 years or older. Yeah. So
That's still higher than I thought.
yeah.
8.6, yeah.
Because
Of course, we did get Grandpa to drink Magic Hat number 9, and he loves the Funky Buddha now.
Yeah.
So they can, if they
So
have
maybe
grandchildren,
some
that
of his
embrace
Bud
it.
Light money will be sort of
And he buys
reallocated.
Heineken whenever I'm in town, because apparently that's craft beer to him.
we can hope. We can hope. So the last story that we saw, there was Paulaner Brauhaus Brewery opening on the Bowery. Now, Paulaner, we know, is it's Munich's 375-year-old brewery that's there. They've been distributing internationally for...
Ever.
Yeah, basically. Now, they are opening one. There's... The great thing I like about this brewery that's opening up is it's going to follow the purity law, which we discussed in the last episode.
Reinheitsgebot.
Yeah, the Reinheitsgebot.
1516.
Thank you. I was just about to ask if you knew when that was, which, of course, will say that it can only contain water, hops, malt, and yeast, nothing else. No blueberry, no other kind of flavors allowed. You have to deal with those. And remember, as per the last episode, by 2015, they should have an answer whether or not it's going to be covered by UNESCO.
Right.
This new brewery has the capacity to turn out around 1,700 barrels of beer annually in its 5 dispensing tanks. Now, on tap, they will have their Munich Lager and the Munich Dark, plus a Hefeweizen for the wheat beer fans out there.
Or for breakfast.
Well, yeah, sure. There's 2 seasonal brews they're going to have, the Mosebach and the Oktoberfest, which will also show up during, obviously, their respective seasons. They will also have the Paulaner Salvator beer, which has, it clocks in at 7.9% ABV, which is originally brewed to replace food during the Lenten fasting.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Huh.
Now, they've got some food on hand as well, which is going to feature Bavarian flavors and ingredients. They're going to have some wurst packed with pork and chicken and lamb and veal. I'm sure they will have other standards per this cultural
Vegan
influence.
brats.
No.
Hey,
just
I had
no.
when I was in Rothenburg, they served me vegan brats. It is out there.
I was
Just
in
saying.
Rothenburg. I liked Rothenburg. It was a very nice city.
Did you have vegan brats?
I didn't. No, we had like a night there, and that was it. Yeah, I bought a sword there.
He bought a sword and ate animal flesh. That's what you do.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm excited for this because I know the Hofbrauhaus has many locations in the States, and most of them, the Hofbrauhaus of Germany will send people over here to check up and make sure that they are brewing in the proper way, using the recipes and checking the menu. And they are very closely involved with the American Hofbrauhauses. And I imagine that the Polaner chain is also going to be this way. And I hope that it becomes a chain and there'll be more and more of
That
them.
would be really cool to see, because the only one we really have otherwise would be Hofbrauhaus.
Yeah.
Where's the closest one to us?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh?
There's one in,
I was gonna say
actually,
there's
New
one
York
in
City.
New York. Yeah.
There is one in New York City. The one in Vegas is awesome, though, because it is a replica of the Hofbrauhaus in Munich, which is awesome. They have, like, you walk in.
They like replicas in Vegas. They have like a Statue of Liberty
it is
and
Vegas.
the pyramids.
That's true,
yeah.
But you walk in and it's, the hall with the and then they even have a replica of the outdoor beer garden that they have in Munich. Now, it's indoor in Vegas. It's
Right.
not outdoors like it is in Munich, but it's a really awesome place.
The biggest regret I have of my trip to Europe is not liking beer when I was at the Hofbrauhaus. I had pretzels. I think I might have had Wiener Schnitzel.
Even-
Was that back when you were
Even-
still washing down beer with little hugs?
Listen, that was before that.
There's video
Even
evidence of that on the internet.
Rich even drank a liter of beer at the Hofbrauhaus when we were there last time.
I couldn't do it. I
My
didn't like it at
non-beer
all.
drinking husband.
How old were you when you went there?
17.
17? That's forgivable, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, and apparently, since the last episode, we did some research. 14 years old you can be to, in public, drink beer as long as you are with your parents.
In Germany.
But underage in Germany,
you.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about Germany, so I was making assumptions. And apparently, underage drinking is not a problem there because as long as you are in a
Private
residence
not in a
and you
public
are with your
space.
parents, it is okay.
That's
Interesting.
good to know. That is very good to know.
More beer education.
Yes, as always. So that'll about do it for the news segment. Now we would like to get to know our guest here, the fourth beer buster on the day, Christian, who is from Golden Avalanche.
Correct.
As I have to correct myself from the open. So, Kristen, of course, we want to thank you for coming out with us.
Oh, no
today.
problem.
Yeah. And now, as of recording this episode, there's a lot of snow outside. Thank you for fighting those roads to come here with us today.
Oh, wouldn't miss it.
We're going to hold you to that. No, we won't.
We got some pretty awesome pictures, though, for the website.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to
Yeah.
get those up. Now, you decided to send us a little bit of a bio that we had, and I appreciate that. Now, you grew up in Hatboro, which is outside Philly, right?
Yep, it's
Yeah.
a suburb in Montgomery County.
Very nice. And now you're living in Bethlehem now?
I am, yes.
Wow. So what took you to Bethlehem?
Well, I was living in Hatboro. I was working at Weyerbacher at the time, and just going up back road. It was an hour each way, and when I started in January, so I was driving through blizzards to get to Easton.
Jeez.
And the commute was just too much, so my buddy had a room open at his house, and boom, problem solved.
There you go. Very nice, yeah. Now, you went to Kutztown University. I almost went to Kutztown University. Now, you have a degree in electronic media, which I was kind of confused when I saw that. What is that? Like, what-
Audio and video production.
Okay,
and
that's what I was
editing.
hoping. That's really what I was hoping. Because I went to Temple for, they called it Broadcasting, Telecommunications, and Mass Media, which could really be simplified to electronic media. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it used to be called telecommunications. They changed the name because I guess it was confusing to some people. I don't know.
So did you focus more on the video or the audio aspect?
Probably a little bit more towards video.
Okay. Now, you, as far as brewing would go, you started in June of 2006 at Golden Avalanche.
Yes.
Right, okay, as the assistant brewer?
Yep.
Was it? Okay. And now, you just mentioned that you were at Weyerbacher, so you went with them, and then you came back as head brewer, right? At Golden Avalanche? Very nice.
Last year.
That's really cool.
And you work there with one of our previous guests,
Yes.
Colin Presby.
That's right.
You tell him what to do, right?
That's right.
All right.
For one more week. It's his last week.
Oh, is it really?
It is, yes.
Oh, where's he going?
He's going full-time at Stouts.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
I did not know that.
Me
That was
neither.
neat. Good for him.
Hey, it's great.
Yeah.
We'll have to have him back on now as it's Colin from Stouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because last
Yep.
time it was Colin from Golden,
Golden
Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Yeah.
Yes.
With a lot of ties to Weyerbacher, he would
Yes.
mention. That's really cool. All right. Now, as head brewer, I always... What?
The
I'm
pen.
sorry. I'm slamming my pen. I'm sorry. The pen is out of my hands now. So as head brewer, are you the only one or the main one that comes up with any kind of recipes that you write, but do you take input from anyone else?
Sure, yeah. I'll work, me and Colin have worked together on some recipes. One of the beers that we're going to be drinking tonight, our Tavern Lager, that had input from Matt from Trogs, that's their sales rep, and Bobby Clark from Weyerbacher. They kind of wanted to do something collaborative, not necessarily that those respective breweries will be brewing it, but we just thought it'd be cool to come up with, a recipe we've never done before.
Yeah. That should be really cool. I'm excited to try it.
Now, your distribution there, I know your beers are served at the Kutztown Tavern across the bar there. Is everything else just like growler fills at the brewery, or do you have other...
Yeah, we do growler fills, but we don't distribute outside of the restaurant.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. I know that was the case when we had Colin on. He had talked about that, and I didn't know if that was still the case.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was it for the bio that you had sent us, really. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, I just finished brewing school. Me and Steph were in the same class at the American Brewers Guild.
Very cool.
So I actually do have free time now, so now I got to figure out how to fill it.
Yeah, right.
That's why I waited till now to invite him to be on the show.
It's probably a good idea.
Because as someone doing the program at the same time, I know how much time it consumed.
Yep.
It was coming home from our full-time jobs every day and being on the laptop or having a book in our hands. It was a lot of work, so
Yeah.
Well,
congratulations
yes,
to you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm ready for my red jumpsuit.
Actually, I have a gray one.
Oh.
They gave us gray jumpsuits.
Wait, where does the red jumpsuit come into play?
Well, in the previous graduates, when they would go up for the residency week, they would get a red jumpsuit, but now they're
okay.
gray. I assume you'll also get a gray one.
Okay.
It is much more,
Neutral?
yeah,
Yeah.
Not
flattering. Much more flattering
As it
than,
were.
than the red one.
Because you have to look good when you got your jumpsuit on, your hair tied back,
Well,
and your goggles
yeah.
on. And,
Yeah, at all
It's-
times.
Yeah, it's not exactly a flattering or attractive business to be a part of necessarily.
Well, not when you're actually
when you're
producing.
in the depths of and brewing and
Yeah.
clean. Well, what would you say? 95% really janitorial work, and 5% brewing.
Yeah, we're basically glorified janitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
Which
of
is-
cleaning, sanitation.
But at the end of the day, we get to drink beer. So
Yeah, I was
Oh,
going to say
yeah.
there's really good byproducts involved.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know before we started recording, you were checking the score of the Eagles game. Is it safe to assume you align with most Philly teams, if not all of them?
Yes. I'm not particularly big on basketball or hockey, but I love the Phillies, love the Eagles.
But if it came to it, you would root for the Flyers and the Sixers.
Oh, absolutely.
I just want to make sure.
Absolutely.
don't try to put words in his
the
mouth.
resident Boston fan sitting across the table from me.
Oh, my.
Whatever.
No, I'm with you. I can't really get into basketball much. I've gone to Sixers games. They're
yeah.
fun.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Phillies and Eagles, and I'm a pretty big Flyers fan.
Yeah.
So it's cool to have another Philly fan in the house.
Go Bruins.
No, not quite. Well, like I said, we would really like to thank you for coming out with us today, especially braving the rough roads that are out there, especially from Bethlehem. Were you coming from Bethlehem today?
I was in Bethlehem. I stopped at the Kutztown Tavern, had some lunch, filled up some growlers, and then came here.
Ooh, so they're freshly filled
They are
growlers.
freshly
They are
tapped.
freshly filled.
Yes.
We were just talking about growlers with Steve Armstrong on our last episode, and we talked about how long to keep a beer in a growler, and
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know, I usually drink it within 2 hours, so
Yeah.
we'll be drinking it within 2 hours of
Yeah.
getting it filled. So
This
that's
could be
exciting.
good.
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Cool. Well, as per how we normally run the show, now that we are acclimated to you, our listeners are familiar with you, what we generally like to do from here is Wayne does a Happy Fun Time game. So, Wayne, what do we have in store?
Hear ye, in the reign of Malty Mick Hopsmith, the Sudsy, in the 42nd and a half dynasty of beerducation in the age of fermentertainment was birthed the hour of happy fun time. Now, good people, that hour strikes again. Hark, the throng calls. What manner of thrilling adventure shall we undertake to celebrate the glory of this joyous occasion?
I'm waiting for you to pull out a sword or something.
Well,
The one I got from Rotenberg.
in the continuation of the beerducation of the Beer Buster Nation and an indication of my own procrastination, we shall play libation or fabrication.
Very nice.
Yay. And the reason I added that procrastination bit is because anytime we play this game, this is one of my favorite Happy Fun Time games that we play, but it's also one of the easiest to put together. So if I wait until the last minute, we're playing libation or fabrication. So that's a pretty good indication.
Your secret is out.
My secret is out. If we're playing libation or fabrication, it's because I did it rather quickly. So anyway, the way this game works, which you probably know already, is I'm going to name a bunch of names of beers. We know all that craft beers out there. There's a lot of weird, funny, strange, bizarre names. And you have to tell me whether it's real or fake, because some of them I have invented with my very own brain. So we're going to start with Dan to my left, and we're going to alternate who goes first, and you just have to tell me, is this a real beer or is this a fake beer? And the beer that we're going to start with, Dan, is this. This beer is called The Dog's Bollocks.
The Dog's Bollocks.
The Dog's Bollocks. Is that a real beer or is that a fake beer?
I think that...
Wait. Don't you usually give us the description of the beer before we have to guess?
Not anymore.
Oh, you are making this harder.
This is the big leagues, sister.
All right.
I'm going to go with... real.
Real. Dan says real. Christian, what do you think? Is that real or is that fake?
The Dog's Bollocks.
The Dog's Bollocks.
So that might be an English beer.
And if it's real, it probably is.
I'm going to say fabrication.
You're going to say it's a fabrication, a bald-faced lie. Steph, what do you think?
I'm going to say it's a libation.
You're going to say it's a real, actual libation. Well,
Yes.
Dan and Steph are correct. Unfortunately, Christian, you are wrong. That is an absolutely real beer. It is a 5.2% ABV winter seasonal golden ale by Witchwood Brewery in Whitney, England. Our friends across the pond.
Christian should get a half point for
Partial
that.
credit?
Yeah, but no. From their cool-looking but really annoying-sounding website. Now, here's the thing, kids. Don't put sound effects on your websites, okay?
Oh,
It's annoying and it's douchey, okay? This website looks really cool, but it plays like music and sounds, and it's just, it's really annoying. But
I hate
anyway.
that.
Mute button.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they don't have a mute option on the website. You have to actually mute your system sound.
Because that's hard.
Well, what if I'm listening to music? I've got iTunes up in the background.
Yeah.
Come on.
What if I'm just lazy and I can't be bothered to?
Press a button.
But anyway, this cool-looking but annoying-sounding website says it's pale golden, well-rounded flavors warm the palate and come together with a hint of nuts, appropriately, resulting in a robust, fulsome aroma that hangs low till the last. It's a great excuse to go and see a man about a dog. The Dog's Bollocks from our friends across the pond in merry old England. And moving on, and Christian's going to go first on this one, and this beer is entitled Yellow Snow. Yellow Snow, is that a real beer or is that fake?
I'm going to say that's a real beer.
You're going to go ahead and say that's real. Steph, Yellow Snow.
I'm also going to say it's real.
You're also going to say it's real. Dan, are you going to join the crowd or go against the grain?
I'm going to say it's real, and you know why I say it's real?
Why do you say it's real?
Southern tier.
No. Rogue. Because I reported
you're right.
on this in a news segment in a
Yes.
previous episode. Thank you for being part of this show, Wayne.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Okay.
Rogue. Yellow Snow.
Then you are all correct. Absolutely and totally 100 correct. Yellow Snow is by Rogue Brewery, which would also be a great name for a frozen golden shower, which is by Dogfish Head. It's an Imperial Pilsner, but they no longer make it.
Why didn't you use that one?
If because I don't know. But if you were going to have a golden shower slushy, you could call it a Yellow Snow.
You could.
You could. All right. Moving right along to Steph, who's going to go first on this one. That was your freebie. Steph, this beer is called Pumpkin Brewster. Pumpkin Brewster. Is that
Shouldn't
a real beer?
it be Pumpkin Brewster?
It's Pumpkin Brewster is the name of the beer.
All right, I'll say real.
You will say it's absolutely real. And Dan, do you think Pumpkin Brewster is real or fake?
I'm going to say fake because I feel like it would have been Pumpkin Brewster.
All right, you're going to say fake because the name is just not good enough. Christian, do you think it's real or fake?
Decisions.
Yeah.
Fake.
Steph is correct. It is absolutely real. Pumpkin Brewster is a 5.5% pumpkin ale by 6 Point Brewery in Brooklyn, New York. Unfortunately, though, like the TV show that inspired the name, it is no longer made. Pumpkin Brewster.
That was a great show.
Yes.
Just saying.
Did you ever see the episode where they go into the cave? It was like a Halloween episode, and like all our friends die, and the dude's face is in the wall. And
It is
really
amazing
creepy
what you remember. It like scares me.
It was really creepy. But yes, Pumpkin Brewster is an absolutely real beer. And we're back to Dan to go up to bat first on this one. And this beer is called We're Only In It For The Money. We're only in it for the money.
I feel like I've heard of that before. I'm going to go real.
You're going to go real on that one, and Kristen?
Let's go real.
You're going to go absolutely 100% true. Steph, what do you say?
I'm going to say fake.
You're going to say false, untrue, fake. You are a filthy liar. Unfortunately, you are correct. I am telling you the truth. We're Only In It For The Money is a real, absolutely real beer.
I was very confused by that.
You didn't know if I was telling you if you were right or wrong. No, we're only in the money for real. It was at 8.2% Tripel, brewed in 2008 just once by Lagunitas Brewing in Lagunitas, California. It was brewed in celebration of the 40th anniversary of the Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention album of the same name. We're
That's
only
why
in it
I've
for the
heard of
money.
it.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And I think that was the album at St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast, where I stole the margarine. No, I think that was that album. Anyway, and I got the crystal ball. Moving right along, and Christian is up to bat first on this one, and this beer is called Division by Zero. Division by Zero, is that a real beer, or is that fake?
Division by Zero.
Division by Zero. Don't try to do the maths in your head.
Yeah, I'm not very good at math. I'm going to say fake.
You're going to say that's fake, false. Steph, what do you think? Is it really, really real, or is it tricksy and false?
I'll say it's
Division
fake.
by Zero is fake, says Steph. And Dan, what do you think?
I want to say real.
You want to say real. Are you going to say real?
I will say real.
You will say real. You are incorrect.
Son of a gun.
Division by Zero is fake.
There's an Offspring song called Divide by Zero.
Is there?
Yep.
I didn't know that. Did you know that Chuck Norris can, in fact, divide by zero?
Chuck
Yeah.
Norris can do anything.
And
He counted to infinity
He
twice.
can count to infinity, and he can slam a revolving door. Division by zero is an undefined mathematical function and a non-existent beer. If your equations demand this operation, or if your glass contains this brew, something is either wrong with you or reality. Division by zero is not real.
It
and
is
this,
impossible.
our next and final beer, and Steph is up to bat first on this one, and this beer is called Nipple Mountain Nip.
I'm going to say it's real.
You're going to say it's real. Nipple Mountain Nip. Dan, is that a real or fake beer?
I gotta say fake.
You're going to say fake. Christian, what do you think? Nipple Mountain Nip.
I'm going to say fake.
You're going to say it's fake implants, not real. Unfortunately, Steph is actually correct. And I say unfortunately because I don't like when Steph is correct. Nipple Mountain Nip is a real beer. It's a winter seasonal barley wine by Pagosa Brewing in Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
I would have been concerned if you would have come up with that name on your own.
Yeah, the luscious, velvety texture is balanced with a huge amount of classic American hops. It includes multiple dry hoppings for a heady hop aroma. It's a 10.5% in alcohol. It's meant to be a slow-sipping beer, something to be enjoyed throughout the winter, served only in brandy-style snifters. Nipple Mountain Nip is a really real beer. Okay, and that's the last beer of the game, so I'm going to go ahead and add up the points and see who is our big winner today. And I cannot believe my eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Miracles do happen.
Again.
More than once. Tied for last place, Dan and Christian with 3 points apiece. A good showing, but not enough to best Steph this time around, who is our big winner with 5 whole points, which means
When I don't get the applause thing?
Yeah, here you go.
There it is. Which means Steph only got one wrong. Steph
Wow.
only got one wrong.
Wow.
Yes, a near perfect score. It's
But not quite.
That's 5 out of 6, which is 90-something%. So very good, very good. That's going to do it for this game. Now, before we depart to our next segment, I would like, just to be fair, to give a shout-out to the breweries that made the real beers.
Yes.
The Dog's Bullocks, which was by Witchwood Brewery with their awesome-looking but annoying-sounding website, is Whitney, England. And you can visit that website at www.witchwood, that's W-Y-C-H wood.co.uk, because they're across the pond. Pumpkin Brewster was by 6 Point Brewery, which you can find in Brooklyn, New York at www.sixpoint.com. We're only in it for the money. It was Lagunitas Brewing Company out of Lagunitas, California, and they're at lagunitas.com. And finally, Nipple Mountain Nip was by Pagosa Brewing in Pagosa Springs, Colorado.
You skipped Yellow Snow.
At pagosabrewing.com. That's correct. I did skip Yellow Snow, which was by Rogue, which can be found at
Rogue.com.
Google Rogue, because I didn't write it down. So that's going to do it for this edition of Libation or Fabrication. Thank you, everyone, for playing. And the universe gets a little stranger as Steph wins once again.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Before we think about it too much...
Know your beers.
Steph, what's on tap this episode?
We are going to talk about some heavy beers today. We're going to talk about the American barley wine. Now, barley wine is typically the strongest ale that a brewery will offer, and recently many commercial examples are now vintage dated. Barley wines are usually aged significantly prior to their release, and they are often associated with the winter or holiday season. American craft brewers have taken the English barley wine style to new levels with a more assertive hop character than its English counterpart, often with a strong, pungent American hop variety. Now, hop perception will vary across the examples and be influenced by the beer's age, as aromas and flavors will evolve over time as well. The hops often mellow from being assertive in recently brewed bottles to more balanced bitterness in aged bottles. As with the English versions, American barley wine style beers are typically bottle conditioned and can be properly cellar aged for long periods. Many avid beer drinkers will purchase 2 or more bottles to drink one right away and age the others for future enjoyment and to examine the beer's evolution. The aroma of an American barley wine is typically very rich and intense with maltiness. Hop characters can be assertive and often showcase citrusy or resiny American varieties. Fruity and alcohol aromatics are present along with a sweet, caramelly, or bready malt character. However, the intensity of the aroma again will subside with age. The appearance of an American barley wine range from light amber to medium copper with ruby highlights and an off-white to light tan head. At cooler temperatures, it can appear hazy, but it will clear as it warms. Flavors are strong and intense with malts and noticeably bitter. Malty sweetness is evident up front, although the finish could be somewhat sweet to quite dry depending on aging. Hop bitterness is strong, and with the malt, the balance always seems bitter. The alcohol is noticeable, but will smooth again over time. These are usually full-bodied and chewy, with alcohol warmth, the ABV being between 8 and 13% or higher.
Do you have a Chewbacca sound effect?
I wish. I really wish.
No one? There we go. Thank you.
There it is.
Let's do it.
Overall, an American barley wine is a well-hopped American interpretation of the richest and strongest of English ales. The alcohol strength and hop bitterness often combine to leave a very long finish. Brewers will often use well-modified pale malts to form the backbone of the grist, and some specialty or character malts are also used. Dark malts are used with great restraint, if at all, as most of the color comes from the lengthy boil. Citrusy American hops are common, although many varieties can be used. Some commercial examples. Anchor's Old Foghorn, which introduced the style to the United States in 1976. This style was... Old Foghorn was styled as barley wine, one word, out of fear that the occurrence of the word wine on a beer label would displease regulators. Other examples include Sierra Nevada's Bigfoot, Victory's Old Horizontal, Rogue's Old Crustacean, Avery's Hog Heaven Barley Wine, Bell's Third Coast Old Ale, Three Floyds, Behemoth. Thank you. Stone Old Guardian, Bridgeport Old Knucklehead, Hair of the Dog Doggy Claws, Lagunitas Old Gnarly Wine, Smutty Nose Barley Wine, Flying Dog, Horn Dog. And important to note, the suggested serving temp of a barley wine is 58 to 61 degrees. Let it warm a little.
Warmer, yeah.
And we want to drink it in a snifter, a stem tulip, or a large wine glass. Nice. So there you go. The
Flying
American
Dog almost
barley wine.
made this episode's edition of Libation or Fabrication with their doggy style IPA.
You could have used that in a future.
Yeah, I could have, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep the sexual innuendo a little bit.
Or you could use it and see if we were paying attention.
I could, yeah.
Because you were not paying attention to Dan when he talked about Yellowstone.
Come on, man. What gives? What gives?
So on that note, we have 2 growlers that are screaming at us right now.
We do, so we
Let's
have to
taste
do
some
this.
beers.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
All right, one of which is a barley wine, as we just went over, right?
Yeah, but we will taste that one second.
Okay, yes. So we're going to start off with, Christian, what are we going to start off with?
This is our Munich Dunkel. It is 5.8% alcohol. It has about 6% smoked malt in it, so very, very faint smoky character comes through in the finish.
I like the color of it. Looking at it, if I hold up the light, it's got like a nice amber color to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly Munich malt as the base, a little bit of Carafa 2 dark malts.
I really like the red spectrum of beers.
The red hues.
Yeah, in between, your really dark blacks and then your really pale golden.
Yeah.
Right in the middle there. I really like the red. It's a very nice color.
I love a Munich Dunkel.
Mm. Oh, that's really good.
That is.
That's really good. It's sort of easy drinking. It's
Absolutely.
what's the ABV on it?
5.8%.
5.8%? No, not bad. No.
I like the malty backbone of this.
Yeah,
It's nice.
I get a lot of I get the smokiness out of it too.
You do get a little smoke.
Yeah.
You get the maltiness. It's not heavily sweet, which I like. It's clean, a little dry.
It needs to have enough hops there from being too sweet.
Right. To
Hop
sort
bitterness.
of cut the
Yep.
the malty sweetness. It's very well balanced. It is very well balanced.
And it's complex. Sometimes I find that a Munich Dunkel can be not flat, but a little watered down sometimes, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, I've had
Like,
ones like that before.
It kind of feels like, you get a flavor up front, but then you kind of lose it. But this stays with you, and it has a nice aftertaste, and it makes you want to go back forward. Not because you're missing the flavor, but because you're enjoying the flavor.
Right,
If that
yeah.
makes sense.
And it's sessionable enough where you can actually sit down at the bar, have a couple, and not, fall out of your bar stool.
Not stand up and have
That's
the
always
room
important.
spinning.
Yeah, it's nice and flavorful while it's still sessionable. I like it.
Now, this is called your tavern lager, correct?
Tavern lager, yes.
But this is not always your tavern lager.
No, our tavern lager and tavern ale, that is a rotating seasonal. So every time you come in, it might be a different recipe depending which batch we're running at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And some of our tavern ales have gone on to become regular beers. One of our IPAs that we did, we're going to start making that year-round.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Yeah.
And the tavern ale, do they give you freedom to sort of choose whatever you want that beer to be?
Yes, I can basically choose what recipes I do for the tavern ale, tavern lagers. We do have some seasonals that we have to do every year. We do a Winterbach, a Springbach, a pumpkin ale, an Oktoberfest, and
You have a
summer ale.
blueberry, too. Is that a seasonal, or is that a staple there now?
That started off as a seasonal, and we took it off, and people started uprising, so
So the blueberry is back.
it is back.
Through popular demand.
Yeah,
Wow.
yep.
So at any given point, how many do you guys have on tap at the location?
We can have anywhere from 6, 7. Some points we're going to have up to 12. Next week we'll be tapping our Winterbach, so we'll have 12 beers on tap.
Very cool.
Great time to go into a sampler.
Yeah. Nice wide
I mean,
selection.
I was gonna say there's a nice selection. Then, do you guys do flights by any chance?
We do flights,
Very nice.
although I believe those come with our 5 regular beers plus 2 seasonals.
Okay.
But if you ask, you can buy sample sizes of any of the beers as
Oh,
well.
cool. Very good. Yeah, I've never. I don't think I've ever been.
We need to go. It's an awesome
Or you
place.
can try it out, if be like, hey, can I just try a little sample of this? They'll maybe not give you the full glass, but enough to
enough to get a feel for it.
Yeah, an
to wet
informed
your
decision.
palate.
That's the very good way to put it compared to
An
what I
informed
just stumbled
decision.
through.
I don't know. That's a pretty
That's
good.
that is good too.
Good way to put it.
it. A well-educated choice.
Yes.
I was just at the tavern recently. It was right around Halloween, and I had the pumpkin ale.
Pumpkin ale.
Which was really tasty. And I think I shared this with you, but the lady behind us, in the booth behind us in the restaurant, she told the waitress, she said, "This is the best pumpkin beer I've ever had." And I don't know if I messaged you or sent you something. I mean, that's really cool that somebody says that
That's a
about
great-
your beer
yeah,
you made.
great
Because there's some
compliment.
big competition out there, especially with pumpkin beers right now,
yeah.
and people are trying to push the limits. But it was really neat to hear her say that. Tell the way, this is the best pumpkin beer I've ever had.
How early do you guys do your pumpkin beer then?
This year we brewed it in July
Okay.
Wow.
and released it the second week of September. Yep.
Okay, see that I can deal with. I don't like when I go to a bottle shop and they have a pumpkin beer in July ready for me to buy. To me, that's way
Yeah.
too early. That means you're probably brewing it in May.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with
Depending on
that.
how fast you can turn it around, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I often wonder what is, we're on the subject of pumpkin beers, I wonder what it is about pumpkin beers that they've become so popular. Like other styles haven't. I mean, I know IPAs have really been a really popular craft beer style, but it just seems odd to me. I mean, I like pumpkin beers. I've had a lot of pumpkin beers that I like. I've had some that aren't that great, but it just seems odd that it's a beer style. It's not even really a style. It's sort of you can take a
Yeah.
style and put pumpkin spices in it, and
Yeah, there can be some big variations in the recipe.
Right.
but They all basically have that pumpkin spice flavor in common.
And it'll be interesting to see. Will pumpkin beers be a style that will transcend and be around for a long time, or is it
Or is
going to
it
be
sort
a
of a
beer that
flash in the
eventually?
pan? Yeah.
it's
I
a
think it might be a
fad.
fad. To be honest, it might be around for a few years yet, but after a while, it's going to pan out. I don't see it sticking around. Unless it's done right. If you get one that's done right, then yeah, sure, it'll be around. But I don't think there'll be as many within the next few years.
It won't be the sort of everybody has their take on pumpkin.
Yeah, exactly.
So the next one is the Tavern Ale, which is your other seasonal, and this is, of course, the barley wine. Now, is your style more of a traditional barley wine, or is it, like we talked about, more of an American barley wine?
I would say it's more American, but it's like a real hybrid. It's German malts and American hops.
Ooh.
I love the aroma. You get the hops. As soon
I
as
was
you
just going to
smell
say,
this, you know it's an American
it's
barley
much more
wine.
hop forward than I expected being a barley wine, but it's very good.
Now, can you share with us what hops you put in this?
We bittered with CTZ, which is a high alpha American variety, and we did 15-minute addition before the end of boil and a last-minute addition of, what do we use? Sterling, which is a American variant of Czech Saaz, and El Dorado.
I like this a lot.
I do like it. Yeah, it's very good. What, now, this is, what's the ABV on this one? It's
8.2, was it?
8.2, yeah.
So it's higher, but it's not crazy high.
It's not going to knock your socks off. Like
For
some
a barley wine, it's on the lower end, but it's still a very strong beer.
It is pretty strong. And the nice hop bitterness. I like that. I wasn't expecting that, actually.
But it's very well balanced.
Yeah.
This is a great beer.
Now, I have to ask, you mentioned the hops that you did use with it. Now, this is something for, I guess, me. I've never really known there was a difference between hops until I started recording this. Have you experimented with other hops going into a barley wine, or what made you choose those to go into this?
Well, it's what we basically had available. Last year,
that's a pretty big factor.
Yeah. We bought El Dorado last year as an experimental variety and ended up really liking it. We used it in our IPA, and we kind of wanted some of that flavor to come through in the barley wine, a little hint of grapefruit, fruity kind of flavor to go along with some of the fruity flavors you might get with the malt and the yeast. And I think they complement each other really well.
They do, yeah. I like the way this turned out. This is a really good one.
Is this a beer you've brewed before?
I've never brewed this beer before.
Yeah. Well, cheers. Good
Yeah.
job.
yes, very
Oh,
good.
you know what? Cheers.
Yeah.
Duh,
we
speaking
didn't-
of
we didn't
cheers,
cheers this
we
time
are
around.
really forgetting this a lot.
Yes.
Cheers.
Now, when I don't know if you mentioned, when was this brewed?
This was brewed in the beginning of October.
Okay, so it's fairly
still,
young.
Still relatively young. That's why that hop flavor.
That's why the
still
hops really
stuck
coming
around.
out on top, right?
I think it's a good compliment to it, having the hops in there. Like
like
being
the
able
hops.
to tell the hops are there.
And it's nice because it doesn't taste like it's intended. Like, obviously, as it ages, the flavors will change, but it doesn't taste like this is not what it's intended to taste like. Almost like, it tastes different now than it will when it ages, but it still tastes good now. Like, it still has a good flavor to it now.
Yeah, a lot of times people will use the word young as a negative adjective to
Right.
describe a beer,
Right.
but that's not the case here.
And
It's really good.
it takes something to brew a beer that's meant to age and have certain flavors come forward and other flavors move into the background, but that you can drink young, and it's still going to have a good taste. It's not going to be like, oh, don't drink it now because it's not where it's supposed to be.
Are you aging any of this, or it's just...
I will be putting at least one keg aside for next year. Next year will be our 15th anniversary, so I might put a keg aside and tap it then with another beer I want to do, hopefully in the spring, a 15% Imperial Stout.
Ooh.
Nice.
I got to
Yum.
figure out the logistics of that because we packed the mash tun almost as full as we can get it with this beer, so we're basically going to have to almost double the amount of malt we can put in. So some logistical work things I have to work out, but we'll get it done.
One way or another.
Now, is there a favorite style or a favorite beer that you've brewed for Golden Avalanche that you just like you could look at and say that's my crowning achievement?
Well, it was pretty nice brewing the IPA and having the owner come to me and say he wants to make it a year-round beer.
Ooh,
That's a good.
that's
thing.
pretty cool if the
compliment.
owner says that. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of positive feedback, and we did 2 batches of it as the Tavern Ale, and both times we got really good feedback. So I think that was enough for us to make that move.
Cool. Now you mentioned the owner and everything. To get a feel at how big the business is, how many employees, roughly?
I would say,
If you can't count them on one hand.
overall, I mean, we have the brewery, the restaurant, a takeout shop, and a college bar in the basement. So we're close to 100 employees.
So yeah, we're
Wow.
going to need a lot to do that.
Yeah.
And what size system are you using?
We have a 10 hectoliter system,
Okay.
German Barrelplan. That'll equate to about 8.5 barrels.
Okay.
And how often do you brew?
Once a week, sometimes twice, depends on seasonal fluctuations. And that's enough, since we don't distribute, that's enough to keep demand for the bar keep a good supply without it going bad.
Now, the not distributing, is that a deliberate choice to keep the business that way?
Yes,
Or,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I think it's an interesting take to have. It kind of gives a certain rarity, or at least that you have to enjoy this beer. To enjoy this beer, you have to at least visit, if not drink it at the place where it's made.
And you have
which
complete control.
Yeah, and you do have absolute
That's a
control.
plus.
Brewing to fermenting to serving,
Right.
They have complete control
Yeah,
of that beer and what it tastes like.
And I like that. It gives it a more of a artisanal type of air
Yeah.
to it, that it's all this is where it's made, this is where you buy it, this is where you drink it. And I like that.
So is there anything fermenting or any recipes in your head right now that drinkers can look forward to in the future?
Well, I've been toying around with the idea of a double IPA. I kind of came up with a recipe last week. Just kind of tweaking it, so I'm going to homebrew a batch as a pilot brew and see how I like it.
Very good. So that's how you come up with your recipes. You
Typically, no.
homebrew it at home and then no.
Typically, no. Normally, I'll just write it out and that's it. But with the double IPA, it's going to use a lot of hops, and I want to make sure I get it right.
Absolutely. There's a lot of competition for double IPAs
Yeah,
out there right
yeah,
now. That seems to be the big phrase in the craft brewing world. So good stuff. I can't wait to try it.
Yeah. Hopefully by spring, summer.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you have, this is something, for me, people have started to ask me, like, oh my God, I'm having this to eat. What should I drink with it? Like, what would you, is there any kind of recommended food that you would pair with either this barley wine or the dunkel or anything that you have on tap, on site?
Well, we don't do it we try to do it every weekend with our specials. I'll talk to the chef, see what he has on special, and I'll try to pair beers like, we'll say the Munich Dunkel, that might work well with a like a roasted pork or something like that. Typically meats.
That'd be good.
Roasted meats, that works really well with the Dunkel. The barley wine, that can pair with desserts, depending what it is.
Yeah.
I think this particular barley wine, given its hoppier character, widens the sort of array of foods that it could pair with.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I would just drink it by itself.
Well, yeah, there's that. But, yeah. I mean, because you do have like desserts and stuff and the sweeter things that kind of go well with the maltiness, but then you also have the hops, which I think pairs well with spicy foods or more meats and more seasoned foods. Yeah.
Or a veggie burger.
Or a veggie burger for the vegans.
No. Just no.
And we do have veggie burgers. You can swap out any veggie patty for any of our burgers.
You can swap out for a veggie.
And they have an awesome stir fry there. And if you get it without the meat, it is vegan friendly and it's very good. This would actually go quite well with the stir fry, I think, the barley wine.
See that? Yeah.
It would pair nicely.
I had today a veggie, what did I have? A veggie sandwich?
Veggie sandwich
from
from
Five
Guys.
And that was very good. And I even had it without cheese, so it was vegan.
I will convert
Oh, no,
you.
it had mayonnaise.
Oh, then it wasn't
Then it
vegan.
wasn't vegan. But it didn't have cheese. So.
But you didn't eat meat. I'm proud of you.
I can't give up mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is so delicious.
I don't know. Veganese is pretty good.
You know what?
Never
I
had
have to
Veganese.
say, you had Veganese at one of your holiday parties or something, and it was passable.
Well, I make my macaroni salad a lot, which was a recipe that was given to me by Rich's aunt, and I have sort of converted it to be vegan, and it's always very popular. And Veganese is the main creamy ingredient in the recipe.
Yeah. That's a good
Veganese
way
is
to
awesome.
describe it.
As it were. as it were.
Now, I have to say, as a side note, Christian, your mustache is fantastic.
It's a remnant from November.
From November,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I kind of figured it would be. We had one of our episodes a few episodes ago.
Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt was talking about Movember and everything. I think he wrote up the blog post for us finally. That we're
Yeah,
gonna
it has.
put online.
As of the recording of this episode, it has not been posted, but it will be in the next day or so.
Yeah. But I was
Absolutely.
hoping. So, like, he kind of introduced us to mustache wax and everything. Do you use wax for that to curly cue it?
Yeah, I use start off with a little hairspray, and then I have a little Murray's hair pomade, and kind of work that in, and it just stays.
If you start off with hairspray, though, do you like spray your finger and then
Spray
do
your
it?
finger and roll,
Okay, good.
roll it in.
That would scare me if
I would
you
not
didn't.
be spraying my face.
No.
right in your mouth. That would be pretty gross.
Oh, thank you.
That would make the beer taste really weird.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
it would.
that's ew.
Getting hints of LA looks.
A little coconut.
Wow. So did you do like the Movember fundraiser and
I
everything?
did, yeah.
Oh, very nice. Because I know he was saying there was Team Golden Avalanche and
Yeah.
everything. So that's okay. Cool.
We have officially had all three members of Team Golden Avalanche on
We
the
have
show
Colin,
now.
Matt, and now Christian.
Yeah.
That's the
We
team.
Yeah,
Come
we
full
have.
circle.
We have.
All is
out.
right with the world now.
Might I get some more of that barley wine? That was
Absolutely.
very
Yeah,
good.
that's what I just refilled my glass. This one was the barley wine?
Make it so.
Thank
Make
you.
it so. Wait for it.
When did that start? The Woot Stout, right?
That's when it started.
Okay.
That is now what we say whenever anybody wants a refill. We make
Yes,
it so.
yes.
This is very good. And you know what? I was going to say, and the conversation kind of tangented there, as it were. But the more you drink this, you kind of become a little more. You don't notice the hop bitterness as much, and some of the sweetness starts to come out more.
Yeah.
Well,
and
it's
I like that.
It's because it's warming
and it's
up.
warming up, and I think as your palate gets a little more accustomed to that bitterness.
In that case, might I get some
I get-
more?
yeah,
of
I-
the
So I would
barley
recommend drinking some more of it because the flavors, the complexity.
Yeah, I'm getting more of
Causes
the
the flavors to
caramel
change.
notes.
Yeah,
and the, and
you
the
do, as you
sweetness
go
as
along.
you drink
Yeah.
more. Absolutely. So when you go to the Kutztown Tavern, order two right away.
Yeah.
Drink one and enjoy the hops, and then let the other sit and enjoy the caramel.
Well, order
sweet notes.
two and then let one sit. Drink one.
Yeah.
Let the one warm up.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
My apologies.
Literally, that's what she just said.
What did we say in the last episode? 9.6? And this is, what is this?
8.2?
8.2?
8.2. The growler is going down quite quickly.
That is very
my
good. The other one's very good too, but I would have to say that if we're going to get into the declaring favorites
Are we?
Is it-
segment,
is it at that
is it the
point?
time to declare
Declaring?
favorites?
Barley wine.
Now, we only have two to choose from, but the barley wine, definitely my favorite. They were both very good, but I really like this barley wine. I like it because it's kind of unexpected. You know, it's unique. It's unique as a barley wine, and I
don't-
like that.
I think it is a quintessential American barley wine. It shows what the American craft
Right.
brewers have brought
Maybe that's
to
what
the
I'm thinking.
style.
Maybe I'm comparing it more towards traditional
Yeah,
barley because I haven't
absolutely.
had a whole lot of barley wines, and I think the ones I have had
They're awesome.
are probably more. Yeah, they are very good.
See, for me, I think I got to go with the Dunkel, though.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the barley wine is, one of the, honestly, probably one of the better barley wines I've ever had, because normally I don't like them overall, but this I really like. And now that it's warming up a little bit, I get more of the caramel notes. I get more flavor out of it. But for me, the Dunkel, the smokiness out of it, that's what
Yes.
brings me back to it.
That's the key there. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
'Cause-
That's what brings it to another level.
Most Dunkels I have, they just taper off, and it's like, all right, that was whatever.
Makes
but-
sense because you like live, sleep, eat, and breathe bacon. So
All right, so that might have something to do with it.
Have you done a Rauch beer?
I have not.
a Rauchs.
Thank you.
Rauch
We
beer.
were taught how to actually say that
We're
word.
just schooled on the pronunciation of that.
I mean, it is how a vegetarian gets their bacon.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just eat bacon.
I was thinking about it. I mean, when we made the Dunkel, we have a lot of leftover smoked malt.
Oh, there you
So
go.
it might be in the future.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
I would love to be a part of that brew day. The smell.
The smell of it.
It smells really good.
I'm sure it does.
Does it smell like bacon?
It does.
Smell like smoked pork in general. I'm
It
sure.
smells like delicious smoke.
I'm in.
delicious smoke.
Wow.
I never really liked smoked beers, but my brother Schlenkerla is like his favorite.
I was just
beer
gonna say
ever.
that one
Yeah.
that
Ever.
Yeah, and that
And to me,
that is
that's too much.
That is really
It's too much.
heavy, like
It is like
smoked
your
meat
tongue is in the
flavor.
fire.
Yeah,
It's
you
too
let me
much.
try one of those last Christmas before he was here and I had it.
I bought a
and
case
it was,
for him for
it was
Christmas.
really
That's really good, but you can only drink one,
I
if
can't
even
drink a
that
bottle.
much.
I
Like,
can't drink all of
I
it.
could after half of one.
I
Now
see.
you I get because you're like the ultimate bacon fan. I can
You
get
are an
it. And
uber
that's why-
carnivore.
And Brian too. I mean, you and Brian, your diet very very.
It's a shame he lives 2,500 miles away.
He will be here for Christmas. Though.
I know. I'm excited.
But I put habaneros in my Rauch beer.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's amazing.
It turned out
Yeah.
really well. I was happy with the way
And I actually entered it in a contest, and I got some kick-ass feedback. So I was
you did.
very very.
You told
excited.
us about that before. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So do you guys, speaking of putting jalapenos in a Rauch beer,
habaneros.
excuse me, in a Rocks beer,
8.6
8.6.
or 8.2.
Do you guys at Golden Avalanche, do you do, sort of get out and experiment with exotic ingredients, as it were, or do you kind of stick to more traditional?
We have done a few batches where we just got some firkins, so that's kind of how we really experiment. We've done we took our blonde lager, fermented it with Belgian yeast, and then added coriander seeds and lemongrass and a couple other wacky ingredients. So we get to do stuff like that. We did the IPA, which it will be coming up. That'll be out this Thursday. This will probably already have aired, but
It's currently available.
It will have been out, yes.
yeah. But that's going to have homegrown cascades that I grew.
Oh, nice.
So-
Nice. That's cool.
So we're going to try and do some wacky stuff. We got some cocoa nibs and cherries, which I think might go really good with our stout.
Yeah. Very good.
I was thinking like a Black Forest Onyx stout.
Oh my god.
Oh, nice.
Just cocoa
Nice.
nibs and
That sounds
cherries.
good.
Amazing.
That sounds really good.
So if you guys, if you just got your firkins, do you guys go out and do like firkin events?
We haven't yet. I think that might be good for like beer festivals. Bring one of our standards and then bring a wacky firkin that we did.
Nice.
So I saw a lot of that. I did a beer festival yesterday and I saw a lot of that. And I was kicking myself for not bringing the IPA with me.
Yeah. Which one did you do?
We did the Fegley's Craft Beer Festival
Okay.
at Allentown Brew Works.
Yeah. That's really. What did you take with? Did you take anything? Or
We took.
No, they took no beer at all.
here's the thing. No, I don't know. If it's, no, I don't know if it's like I'm just going to go check out the competition, or do I take beer with?
No,
and
they
serve?
were serving beer.
Okay,
No,
that's
they
what I
have
have
water.
to. All right.
We have Evian.
We're just here to look good.
Here's our
Show
finest
off their
Dasani.
mustaches.
Well, we took our Tavern Lager, the Munich Dunkel, and we took our Old Brick Alt beer.
That's a good one.
Which one?
Old Brick Alt.
I have not had that.
It's an alt beer, yeah. Very good.
I wish I could remember what. Do you remember what they had when we were at the Pints for Pups?
It was a German.
Those were the.
The
there's-
Marzen?
I think that
I
was
know
the-
we took the Marzen there.
It was. I think that's what it was.
because they were both
It was
very good, but
really
there was one I really, really liked.
I think that was it.
that was probably it. Yeah.
And that was your recipe too.
Yeah, we brewed that. That was our previous Tavern Lager. Brewed that in collaboration with Neshaminy Creek Brewing Company.
Yep. That
Oh,
was the
that's
one.
right. That is the one. I remember
And their
that,
version
that
was called
collaboration,
Ziggy Zaggy Oktoberfest.
Oi,
Right.
oi, oi.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was good.
Wow.
Prost.
Prost.
So like,
Roast.
something you just said, Steph, kind of sparked something in me. So it was your recipe that existed, and I can only imagine the pride that you get when you have a recipe that that makes it to the tavern that you actually serve to people. Because I know, just for me, like when I cook something and I throw in some random ingredients and it's like, oh my god, this tastes awesome. I can only imagine what it's like for you brewing a beer that other people will come in and drink and just ask for and ask for and ask. Like, what is that like?
Feels good. I mean, I wish every beer, every season, all that we did were as popular as some of the others, but feels really good.
That's what made me finally decide that I wanted to get in brewing. Back in June, when we went to the American Homebrewers Conference in Philly, and I got to serve people beers that I made.
Oh, and your
people-
jalapeno saison.
really cool.
People kept coming back for the jalapeno saison and like asking me about it and talking about it. I'm like, this is the best feeling ever.
Because you put all that thought and that work
It
into
was
it,
amazing.
and then to have other people appreciate
There's
it.
nothing else that matches the feeling when somebody is excited about
And when
your
we
beer.
finally do the Beer Busters collaborative
Collaboration beer.
homebrew,
We should do it over the
it's
the
going
holiday.
to be fantastic.
It's going to be amazing.
Yes.
So hopefully by the time this episode airs, we will have brewed something.
Will and have been.
Will and have been.
Something like that.
Yes.
I got to figure out the logistics of it and how to mic it, but okay.
Well, we don't have to do it.
We
on
can just
the
talk
show.
about
We
it
just
after the fact.
I
take
kind of want to
pictures
record
of
it,
it.
though.
You want to record
You know,
while we're brewing?
here's
Do you
the-
know how long it takes to brew?
We can record all of
That'll
it.
be
I'll
the
edit the important parts, and then we can
longest
have it for the
episode
newsletter. Hashtag segue.
ever.
There you go. Okay, hashtag segue.
Hashtag
Speaking of
segue.
segues,
Speaking of
Hashtag
segues,
mashtag.
I still have to try that.
let's not forget.
Let's not forget that our social media is on our website. You can catch our Untapped. You can look at our Instagram, Facebook. You can look at really everything.
Actually,
that we
point
have.
of order.
Point of order. The council recognizes.
Our Untapped account is not linked on our website.
Why not?
This just occurred to me just now.
Well, it will be by the time this episode airs.
By the
It better
time the
be.
episode is
But
up,
all
and
the
live.
beers that we drink today, all the beers we have drunk in the past, will be checked in our Untapped account where we are Beer Busters. Everything else you can find at beerbusterspodcast.com.
The look in your eyes as you said that, you're like, you know what, Dan? I'm you for a second.
I like to try and be
Wayne
you.
took over. And you can comment and toast, and I'm in charge of the, I kind of do the Instagram and the Untapped accounts.
Yeah.
So if you want to
And you know
communicate
what?
with me, do
the
it
two
those
of those
ways.
have the most followers we have
Absolutely.
for any of our social media, so
I
that's
love
awesome.
Untapped.
Yeah, it's you know what, I explained it to somebody the other day and they'd never heard of it. It's such an amazing app, and they're just their eyes shot wide open and the biggest smile on their face, like I can track the beer that I drink,
and their blood vessels burst open.
and their eyes started just bleeding blood.
And they have T-shirts now. So
I
not
think-
only can you get a Beer Busters T-shirt, you can also get an Untapped T-shirt.
Yes.
How awesome is
That's
that?
kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
We're
So now
starting to devolve.
we kind of are. So now I do have to ask though, do you guys at Golden Avalanche have social media of sorts?
We do. We have a Facebook page. Aside from we have our website, kutztowntavern.com. We are also on Untapped.
Very
Very
nice.
cool.
Nice. So you're on Untapped as Kutztown Tavern,
Golden Avalanche Brewing Company.
Golden Avalanche Brewing
and
Company.
Same thing for Facebook.
Facebook Golden Avalanche.
Golden Avalanche Brewing
Okay,
Company.
Cool.
No
Awesome,
Twitter?
awesome.
Twitter? Yeah,
I don't have a brewery Twitter account. I have a personal one, but no brewery, no official brewery.
Here's the thing about
Okay.
Twitter. I don't blame you for that for a second, and I'm hopelessly addicted to mine, and I hate every second of it.
I do not use my personal Twitter. I tweet as Beer Busters, and that's it.
Don't.
Sometimes I have to stop myself and remember that I'm not tweeting as myself, but I'm tweeting as Beer Busters.
Yeah.
So I better watch what I say. But
Oh man.
So if
Speaking
it's
of
something
plugs-
inappropriate, it was Wayne, not me.
yeah. So don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and go to the Beer Busters swag shop to buy stickers and T-shirts and all kinds of cool stuff.
And read the blog posts and all sorts. And there was one about Movember from Matt Vargin.
That's
Very
right.
cool.
Yes.
That's right. Check it out.
Our awesome guest blogger.
Yes. Now this, my friends, does unfortunately bring us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters Podcast. And as always, we'd like to thank you for joining us for this little train wreck we know is getting drunk on air. And it was the great Homer Simpson again who said, beer, so much more than a breakfast drink. And that is so true. Now I, as always, am Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and our household from entertainer.
And I have been since last week, Wayne Baker.
Since last week, indeed, but we would also like to thank our fourth beer buster, Mr.
Christian Mosebach.
Thank you for joining us today, Christian. It's been a blast. Your beers are fantastic.
Thank you.
My friends, until next time, we bid you adieu.